pedal is a guitar distortion effect, very simple, but it can be used on anything from kicks, subs, whole drum kits, and of course guitars and bass guitars. So here I have two clips. One is just a kick, and one is just like this Asian guitar. Let's put the pedal on it. And right out of the bat, the pedal already works, even though the main controller here is the gain, which decides how much amount of distortion we're actually adding to the sound. 0 does not mean 0 distortion. It still have some amount of processing, and it all depends on how much you actually bring, how much volume it's actually going into the effect. Now we have three different types of distortion. We have overdrive, which described as a warm and smooth distortion. We have distort, which is tight and aggressive. And we have fuzz, which is unstable with a kind of a broken amp type of sound. The output decides the overall output volume out of the device. So you can do some gain staging if you like this distorted sound, but don't want to be too loud. Here we have a 3-band EQ. This EQ is adaptive, so as you turn it up, it's going to become narrower and narrower. First we have the bass control, and this is a peak EQ. Center frequency around 100 Hz, and this is very useful to add punch to bass drums or drum sound. So let's play the kick. Let's bring up the bass just to hear it. You can even turn down the bass to lose some body out of guitars to push them backward in the mix. We have the mid EQ, and the mid EQ is a boosting EQ, and it has a switch here on the bottom which will switch which frequency it's focused on. So let's boost it up. Let's go back to the guitar. If I turn it to the left, it's gonna focus more around the 500 Hz. It's gonna be a narrower EQ. In the middle, it's gonna focus on 1000 Hz. It's gonna be slightly wider. And if I take it to the right, it's gonna focus around 2000 Hz, and it's gonna be the widest EQ option. The treble is a high shelf, cutting off at 3.3 kilohertz. So this is very useful if you want to attenuate some high frequencies, if it's too harsh. You can bring down the treble. Here we have the sub, which if we turn it on, is going to be a switch of a low shelf filter. It's going to boost all the frequencies below 250 Hz, and this can be used in conjunction with the bass knob to boost some lows, to add some more punch, some more body to low frequency sounds. We also have the dry wet, can mix between the dry signal, the unaffected signal, all the way to the 100 fully distorted signal. So it's another way to do parallel distortion, to introduce all those harmonics that are being created from the distortion pedal, but mix it in slightly with the dry signal. And lastly, we can right click on the pedal title and turn on high quality mode, which will introduce some more CPUs. It's going to be more CPU intensive, but it's going to be able to handle the high frequencies a bit better, eliminate some anti-aliasing. So that's it, that's the pedal device. Very cool, 3 effects in one, can be added on anything, not only guitars, like kicks and drums and bass, can add a lot of flavor to your sounds.